Chris Evans is returning to the MCU. Austin Butler has been cast as Patrick Bateman in Luca Guadagnino's American Psycho. 28 years later dropped its first full-length trailer. Kraven and War of the Rohirrim both bomb at the box office. And Meet the Parents 4 is in development. Let's get into this week's movie news.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast, and another week of movie news where we go through all of the industry news so you don't have to. We read all the articles, watched all those trailers. Some of them were hard to watch. And we checked out all of the castings, so don't worry. You don't have to browse the internet. You don't have to scour every article. So sit back, relax, and let us tell you what's going on in the film and TV world. We have a ton of big stories, trailer releases this week, but first, let's break down the box office. And to no surprise, Moana 2 still is on top with a very healthy $26 million in its third weekend. Wicked came in second place in its fourth weekend with $20 million, and it has just hit $400 million domestically, so an absolute massive hit. Kraven the Hunter debuted in third place with $15 million, which is just where projections were saying it would go. Now, this movie had a price tag of around $110 million plus marketing, so they obviously, if they wanted to make a money back, they had to hit about $50 million, so they didn't go anywhere near that.
And Gladiator 2 is in fourth place, $8 million domestic in its fifth weekend or fourth weekend, and then
Remember Glicked. Fourth weekend.
And then Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim in fifth place, its opening weekend, $5 million at the domestic box office. Not a great start to that animated film.
And Kraven the Hunter, if it opens with 15 mil, it will probably finish out maybe 40, 45 million with its domestic haul. And then internationally, it will probably make about the same. So it's looking at, I would say, a projection of 100 million total gross, which is below its budget.
I don't think it'll hit 100 million.
Maybe around the world.
I don't think it will.
Well, we'll see.
It's 15 million its opening weekend. It's going to go down 60%. It's going to go down to like 7 million, and then it's going to teeter.
It's just losing money.
It's going to teeter to 75 million, man. It's barely even going to touch that surface, I bet.
And then War of the Rohirrim, obviously the Lord of the Rings brand does not guarantee a strong performance with $5 million, and a lot of people will say this is an animated film. However, if you look at anime releases, they often have huge weekends, and we've seen animes come out with over $20 million. And so,
I mean, and also just animated films are just massively popular.
Yeah, exactly.
Massively popular.
So this obviously had very little interest for fans of the IP. We're huge fans of the film franchise, the trilogy, and I don't really have any interest in seeing the film. I'll maybe check it out one day, but I'm not going to the theater to see it.
I think I'll watch it when it comes out on Max, but the thing is, the story here is Kraven. That's making everyone forget about this bomb for Rohirrim, because that is not a good performance as well. But we have so much incredible news to get into this episode. Let's lead with what bleeds, and the most exciting thing, Avengers Doomsday. Chris Evans has joined Robert Downey Jr. to come back as a faithful favorite from the franchise to the franchise of the MCU, and he's going to play reportedly Nomad, who is a character that I knew nothing about. So let me read something about him. Nomad, according to Game Rant, is an alternate identity that Steve Rogers uses after abandoning the Captain America outfit and title in the comic books. So he's kind of like a rogue version of himself, I guess. That's what it sounds like to me. So he's coming back. Haley Atwell is also going to return as Peggy, because wherever Peggy goes, Steve's going too.
He's going to be swooning over her somewhere, simping.
Benedict Cumberbatch is confirmed to return as well. Robert Downey Jr., obviously. Anthony Mackie will return in Captain America in Avengers Doomsday. The Fantastic Four are also going to be in this film. So we have Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Ebon Moss-Bachrach coming into Doomsday. The Thunderbolts are all going to come into Doomsday as well. Plus, we also have Tom Holland as Spider-Man will be coming back for Avengers Doomsday. So this is just going to be... They're throwing the entire kitchen sink and more at this film, because I think they know they have to get everyone really excited about the Avengers again, excited about the MCU again. It seems like they're abandoning their plans for the young Avengers, the new Avengers. We're going old school. We're bringing back some huge stars. We're bringing in new stars with the Fantastic Four, and this is pretty effing exciting, if you ask me.
Again, and I'm sure this is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll probably get all the Guardians back in it, and a bunch of the other supporting B-rolls. Maybe ScarJo will come back. Sam Jackson will be in there. So I'm
I
sure
hope Sam comes back.
I'm sure this is really just the tip of the iceberg, and it looks like for the Avengers Doomsday films, it's going to be an all-out Avengers cast, and
There's
pretty much
no
everyone.
way they're not going to be the most expensive movies ever made in history. Because, I mean, Downey's going to get probably $100 million just to be in these movies each. You know, Chris Evans isn't coming back for anything less than $50 million probably.
Mm-hmm.
So I guarantee, just that alone, you're spending probably $150 million on 2 actors probably. These movies are going to cost like $2 billion to make.
It's how do you feel about the fact that they had such great send-offs in Endgame and retired they put down their MCU caps, and just a few years later they're already back.
5 years.
What do you think about that? Do you think it takes away from their great finales?
I think that people in this world have short memories in this day and age of the insane amount of content we get constantly. I think at first people obviously are 50-50 divided. It seems like upset about it. But at the end of the day, the MCU has been failing. They need some sort of resurgence. They need to, Casino Royale, like get the defibrillator going and just revive their franchise. And I think, let's go big or go home. Why not? And then I think after this, we have Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four seem to be sort of the big leads of the MCU going forward, probably.
Yeah.
But I was excited when they announced Downey. I thought that was cool. I know a lot of people think it screams desperation, and they are just going to spend so much goddamn money on these movies, but people are going to turn out, and I think it's going to be exciting. It's cool. Why not? I mean, why not?
Yeah,
Life's too short to complain about stuff like this.
Life is short. Yeah, I mean, I love Chris Evans, and I love Downey, so, I mean, yeah, if they're back, that's cool.
Money talks. Money talks. When someone's going to throw you $50 million, I'd come back as Captain America, too.
I didn't know Holland would be back, so I think that's interesting to see that he's confirmed in the cast.
Spider-Man, man.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Gotta have him. Have him.
He's the guy.
Will this come out before Spider-Man's next film?
No, I don't think so.
So this is a little bit later of a release
Spider-Man's 2026.
Okay.
I believe this is 2027 and 2029.
date? Okay, gotcha. So we'll have a solo Spidey film first, and then probably maybe the new Doctor Strange movie will come out before it, too.
Possibly, but don't quote me.
So, it seems though, I mean, we're just guessing, but the Fantastic Four film might set up this entire arc.
That'd be actually really interesting.
Like the arc for this Doomsday storyline will probably be set up in the Fantastic Four film.
Okay, so Doomsday, May 2026.
it's soon, bro.
That'll be before the next Spider-Man movie.
So that's in a year and a half.
That's
18 months.
Yeah, but they might push it. They often do push their dates.
We'll see.
It wasn't initially
This ain't no
planned for-
solo film. This is a big deal. That's prime real estate for release dates. So in 18 months, we'll see all of this put together.
because then in July 2026 is Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
And Chris Nolan's movie too.
So then it looks like Fantastic Four being the next major release out of any of these actors and characters will be probably the catalyst for Doomsday.
Probably. And then Thunderbolts will probably have to do with it too.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. That's a lot of movies in a couple of years.
They got all the heavyweight hitters,
That's
man.
a quick turnaround.
They're trying to work out ScarJo's contract right now. She's like,
I don't think they need ScarJo anymore.
I would like to see if they have Evans and Mackie and Downey. I would like to see ScarJo.
I mean, it'd be cool to have her back, but then what are they going to bring? Are they going to bring Chris Hemsworth back? Are they going to bring Mark Ruffalo back?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I think they're going to bring everyone back.
I don't know if I want everyone back.
Excuse me.
That's too much. Like, keep Ruffalo away, keep ScarJo away.
I would not be surprised if we get. That's what I mean by this is the tip of the iceberg.
And they're going to go to New York City and do the 360 shot again.
Yeah, I'm saying I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and we're gonna get a lot more cast members, and they'll probably keep a lot secret because they always love having surprises for the audience and when they see it live. So
True.
I think that there's gonna be a lot more big names than just on this list.
Let's talk about some more stories, though.
A huge story. We all love American Psycho, and Patrick Bateman, Christian Bale's rendition of the character was perfect for Bret Easton Ellis's novel, and it's really, Mary Harron did a special job with that movie. And we all know Luca Guadagnino is in the process of doing a remake and a new adaptation of the novel. He just centered on his leading man to play Patrick Bateman, and that is none other than Austin Butler. I was I had a lukewarm response to a remake happening. And then when Lucas signed on, I was like, okay, maybe it will be something really interesting since he's involved. And then having Austin Butler as Patrick Bateman, I think that's a really great choice for the character.
I have to return some 4K Ultra UHD Blu-rays. I think it's really exciting. I wasn't completely sold when the rumors were Jacob Elordi were circling it, but then when Austin Butler signed on, I think that's a brilliant choice. And I think that this will be a great version of the film.
He's not going
version of
to
the
be. He's not going to be talking about Phil Collins. He's going to be talking about ASAP Rocky.
If they make it present day, and I think Austin can do, what Christian did in a different way. Obviously, Christian's just the mold, the blueprint of just how to go crazy as an actor, and that performance is so special. But I think Austin Butler can do his own thing with it, and I think he can. I think he does have that range that Christian Bale has. I think he's that talented of an actor. He might be the most talented actor right now. He's so special. I mean, if you watch several of his movies, you can see the range he has. But I mean, just as a Harkonnen in Dune Part 2, I mean, his fate, he's incredible. So for people who don't think he can go that deep and be that crazy, have you seen that movie? He's an animal. He's brutal.
I think that Austin Butler's a really fascinating actor, and he's an actor who clearly puts everything into his roles and fully commits, which is what you need. I mean, that's what Christian Bale did when he played Patrick Bateman. I don't think that we can get a rendition. I keep saying rendition. I don't think we can get an interpretation of a performance of Patrick Bateman that can top Christian, because I think if you've read the novel and you watch him, it really is just perfect. But this is a new version. It might be contemporary, and so that frees it up to be something a little different. And so I think that Austin Butler is an exciting choice. If this movie has to get made, I don't want this movie to get made. I do not want an American Psycho reboot. However, studios, it's a very popular IP. It's going to get remade. The people who own it are going to be like, let's get a new American Psycho. So that being said, with Guadagnino and Butler, I mean, that's pretty much best case scenario, honestly.
Imagine if they made a sequel with Christian Bale.
That'd be fucking great. They should have just done that. Guadagnino and Christian Bale. Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
You think he would have survived that long?
Yeah, absolutely.
Killing people?
That's the whole irony of the character, because he kills so many people, but no one notices it.
True.
Imagine Patrick Bateman with a smartphone. He'd just be Amazon shopping all day.
He would.
All right, let's get into the next huge story. Several days ago, Sony dropped the first trailer for the much anticipated 28 years later, directed by Danny Boyle. And this return to the franchise looks incredible. What a trailer. I think every studio in Hollywood, take this blueprint, watch this trailer. This is how you do it. This trailer didn't reveal anything. Barely even know what the story is. Great imagery, beautiful shots, but also this eerie poem being read out, which was used in World War II, I believe, or World War.
It's a Kipling poem, and it's used to train people in torture techniques because it has a redundancy and highly repetitive nature in it, and so they train soldiers to withstand torture techniques, and that's one of them. Playing that over and over again for days straight, listening to that same poem.
So it was eerie. It looked incredible. It created a fantastic mood. So many trailers these days, they don't create a mood anymore. They don't create the tone of their movie.
They just show the movie.
Here's the whole movie. So give us money. Give us your money.
Look at what happens in this movie.
But this one was so intriguing, exciting, and we got some imagery of Aaron Taylor Johnson seems to be one of the leads of the film, a father of a son. They're out hunting with the bows and arrows. We have an island, obviously secluded from the outbreak, it seems like, until there's some sort of evolution, it seems like, that the movie's hinting at me. Like, what does humanity become is the main tagline. And for me, when I'm watching this trailer, I didn't see the red eyes of the infected. I didn't see maybe complete zombies. But what it felt like was an evolution between humans and the infected to maybe some sort of creature that's now intelligent like a human, or is human but has the rage of the infected. So I wonder if they're going to be straight up infected, or it's going to be an evolution of them.
Well, there's two examples of that being a possibility. The first example is that there's that super wide silhouette with the tree on that hillside, and you can tell the reverse shot is a couple characters looking at them. I think maybe it's Aaron Taylor Johnson and his son, and then the zombies start running towards them. However, one zombie is just standing there.
Yeah.
So it looks like that could be the pack leader in a way, the one that's not running. So I think that showed a sign of a hierarchical version of intelligence amongst that pack of zombies. And then the second example is there's the shot of Ralph Fiennes and a couple of the other cast members, a kid and I think Jodie Comer, and they're walking through this very strange memorial of pillars built from the bones of human beings. Skulls, but bones too.
Yeah.
Bone, like all sorts of bones.
The central one is all skulls.
Yeah, so it's like these very narrow pillars. Looks like to be about two dozen of them, and it's like all like femur bones and forearm bones, or whatever those are called. And then the centerpiece is this huge pillar filled with, it's just formed just with skulls. And they're all clean and pristine and white. And it looks like it's some kind of shrine. Now, who built this? Did people build this? Are there groups of people who have gone past the point of humanity and they've completely devolved into a new kind of person where just mentally what's happened to the world has emotionally broken them, and they've maybe turned into pack-like animals themselves based upon the brutality of the world? Or did an evolved form of these zombies build this giant shrine? I wonder. It's so curious.
Also, theory, what if the infection's gone? And what if these are humans? And this is, like you said, what's happened to them over the last 28 years of survival, of becoming monsters. Like, obviously, the reflection of monsters in the first film, humans are monsters, becoming monsters. What if these aren't even infected? What if they are actually just humans? They've just gone absolutely insane with the tribalism and war.
I think that the iPhone footage looks really great.
Yep.
It has an interesting, a very different sense for dynamic range with its low light, and they took advantage of it. You can tell Danny Boyle and his DP, they understand the flexibility of that sensor and that camera. It's very different, and you can feel that. But obviously, still, it's extremely high quality. They use great lenses, obviously, but its dynamic range is really specific compared to digital cinema cameras. You can feel that with these extremely low light situations, and I think they took advantage of that in an amazing way. There's also some really cool, I would say, callbacks to old Gothic horror films. Lots of Dutch angles, these cool shots of tombstones, and I think that he added this really cool Gothic flair to it that I wasn't expecting. I think it looks outstanding, and it reminded me of the Nosferatu trailer, because the Nosferatu trailer was the same way, where it didn't give anything away. For anyone who doesn't know the Nosferatu story or the Dracula story well, you watch that trailer and you're like, what's going to happen in this? And so I think that studios need to start making more trailers like this, because the internet is extremely excited for this.
Yeah, and Nosferatu, by the way, we saw last night in a special early screening. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. It's fantastic. Eggers fans, it's just made just for you. It's fantastic.
Also, the zombie that everyone thinks is Cillian Murphy, and I thought it was. It looked just like him. That's actually not Cillian Murphy. An actor spoke out online, and it's the actor, I can't remember his name.
He's a British art dealer. His name's Angus Neal.
And he was cast as that zombie, so he's playing that characters, even though it looks so much like Cillian, it's actually not. And also, we all know that they stopped making.
Well, he's playing the character of Jim.
No, he's playing the character in that trailer.
Okay, I'm sorry. The way you worded it sounded like you said he's playing Jim.
He is Cillian Murphy. No, I'm joking. Sorry, he's that zombie that does that like vampiric lift up.
Yeah.
And then we all know they stopped making physical copies of this film years ago.
28 days later.
28 days later. Sorry, 28 days later. Copies. It's going to be coming to digital very soon. It was just announced that it'll be coming to digital. However, you can't buy any actual copies of this movie. This has caused a huge inflation for the price of them. So you can buy them on eBay, used or new, but the copies are selling for over $200 each.
Fucking hell.
For new.
Fucking hell.
For unused
Might have
Blu-rays.
to start a physical collection soon, man.
So the price for 28 Days Later skyrocketed for physical copies.
Damn.
It's become a collector's item.
Crazy. Let's get back into some more Kraven stuff, because this is such an interesting story with Sony and their universe of Marvel Cinematic characters, and how it's really interesting these discussions are being had, where Sony, they were never prevented from including Spider-Man in any of their movies. They could have. They had the rights to, but they chose not to put him in the films, which you understand. You want to save that bacon in the freezer for as long as possible. But it appears that Venom gave them this false sense of impression that audiences were craving and wanted these solo villain anti-hero origin stories, which I think was probably tricked. They were probably tricked by Venom. The success of Venom was huge. And then they go and take all their villains, turn them into anti-heroes, making very mediocre movies, very bland scripts, all feeling very similar, and it just didn't work out. And it seems like this is the end of their Sony Marvel universe of characters outside of Spider-Man, which Spider-Man 4 they're obviously still making. And, you know, they wanted this big team-up. They wanted a future crossover event with Marvel, with Spider-Man, and with all these characters. And I think this is one of the big problems that a lot of studios are facing, where they're looking too far down the line at what our franchise will become versus let's just make some good movies now and see what happens, which is why the MCU succeeded in the first place.
Yeah, the thing is, I think it's kind of a mistake to just make a bunch of villain movies. They probably would have, and keep in mind, I know Sony is getting so much heat right now, but keep in mind they make the Into the Spider-Verse movies too, and they knock those out of the park.
Yeah.
So I think Sony gets a little too much heat because those movies are great. But I will say, I always thought that, I mean, Venom worked because Venom's such a popular character.
And Tom Hardy.
Yeah, and it's Hardy, and everybody was dying to see a good Venom on screen. And in some ways, Venom can be as popular as Spider-Man with fans. I think that the approach they took of only doing villain stories was the mistake, and I think they could have done a cool Black Cat franchise, cast a really great actress as Black Cat, and then you have a true anti-hero story where she has the gray morality. She can go hero or villainess. And I think that would have been a smarter trajectory for them with live action to, focus they still have more characters who are heroes in their arsenal, in their library that they own. They probably should have done hero-centric stories with these villains as the villains of those movies. That probably would have been the best bet. Like maybe Black Cat movie, and she's an anti-hero, and then Kraven's like the bad villain in it.
Hunting her, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
that would have worked.
That, I think, would have worked better, rather than you're taking all these baddies and making them way too empathizable. Is that even a word? Way too easy to empathize with. And you're stripping away what fans love about the characters. And it's like, you're not going to watch a Bane villain anti-hero movie.
And they're all origin stories.
Yeah.
I'm sick of origin stories. Every year or two, we're getting a new origin story from a different Marvel character, a different Sony character. It's just, I've had enough of origin stories, man.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think that they're not going to stop making these movies because they own the IPs. They own a huge library of over 500 characters. They can just, I think, switch gears and be like, let's do hero-centered stories with our amazing library of villains to be the villains of those movies. And you can have a Green Goblin character. It doesn't have to be in a Spider-Man movie, but it can be in like a Black Cat movie. You could have a Green Goblin. And if it does well, if people like it, maybe we can have a crossover with our Spider-Man. So they need to change the approach they're going with. No more villain origin anti-hero stories. Make your villains to your hero characters is probably the best way to do it.
Make them bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about these Golden Globe snubs. Holy crap!
Golden Globes I haven't taken seriously for years, but
keeps going downhill.
This year in particular was just really ridiculous.
The biggest snub. Well, all these director snubs are shocking. We have Denis Villeneuve not getting a nomination for Dune. Dune Part 2 only got 2 nominations at the Golden Globes.
Wow.
It got Best Picture, and then it got Best Visual Effects.
Score.
No, did it get score?
Yeah.
It didn't even get
Hans is disqualified from Oscars.
It didn't even get cinematography for Greg Fraser, production design,
costuming.
Absolutely shocking that it only got 2 nominations.
Yeah.
Also, Luca Guadagnino didn't get a nomination for Challengers, one of the top 5 movies of the year, in my opinion. Absolutely sensational film. Robert Eggers in the entirety of Nosferatu, not a single nomination for that movie, which is jaw-dropping because the performances in Nosferatu are sensational. Lily Rose Depp is
great.
Incredible in that movie. Holt's great, but Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, holy fucking shit! One of the best performances in the last couple of years, easily.
It was also one of the best shot films of the year. The production design was wonderful. The costuming was out of control. I mean, the Nosferatu deserves to get so many nominations, and it's not going to get any love at all. And then you have John Chu for Wicked, who did a really spectacular job adapting this source material for the big screen in such a wonderful way that it took the world by storm, and he didn't get any nominations for directing. And we got a bunch of films that nobody's seen got nominated for a bunch of awards, and I think this is an example of the Hollywood Foreign Press just patting themselves on the back, like, oh,
tinkering with
it's just a little far-fetched that certain things got nominated and these didn't. But also, I'm so tired of the comedy musical genre category.
Me too.
Because
same thing with the Emmys.
We have Hugh Grant, who is wonderful in Heretic, but he got nominated for Best Performance in a Comedy for Heretic.
It's not a comedy.
It's like, what the hell is going on here? Challengers did get a Best Picture nomination, but not for drama. It got Best Picture Comedy or Musical nomination.
It's not a comedy.
I love Challengers, and I think it's one of the best 3 films of the year. And it's a shame because they submitted it to comedy because they knew they stood no chance in the drama category in the Globes. But I think it'll get Best Picture of the Oscars, I guarantee it. But Challengers is not a comedy. There's some funny bits in there, but it is a drama through and through. And so the comedy musical...
It's a scorching drama.
Yeah, and there's multiple other examples of the comedy musical genre for both acting and then Best Picture. And there's so many other acting.
Better Man,
things like that. And it's just like, the problem is it takes away from the true comedies. You know, the movies and that writers are writing, that actors are acting in, that directors are making, that their intention is this is a comedy. And it's taking away from them getting recognition and those filmmakers and actors and writers from getting, you know, the press and the attention that they deserve for really making a comedy. And then you're putting it in a horror movie and you're taking... Hugh Grant's phenomenal. I think he should get nominated for drama.
He's a funny performer in it. He's got a lot of great jokes.
But Heretic's not a comedy.
It's not.
And you're taking away from an actor who was who gave a comedic performance, and they lost the nomination because some like that took the slot. So I think the comedy musical genre category in the Globes needs to be changed. They need to be more strict about what's allowed in and what really defines a category, rather than these statistical on paper numbers that they use to justify it. It should be like, this is not a comedy. It should not be put into this awards category.
Emmys the same way. The Bear, great show.
Yes.
Taking home 22 Emmys last time, and
0 laughs in season 3.
As a comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Jeremy Allen White, such a talented actor, but winning the Emmy for Best Actor in a comedy? What is going on?
Yeah. Same thing in I think the Globes, man, Denis and Luca and Egger. I mean, Eggers directed his fucking ass off in Nosferatu. It's a wonderful display of filmmaking, and it unfortunately will get 0 recognition from award seasons.
And I'm not watching the Globes because of this. And if this happens at the Oscars, I'm not watching the Oscars if Denis not nominated. I'm not. I'm boycotting it. I will not watch it. Let's move into some more comic news stuff. We have Clayface. A movie is in the works now. It's described as a horror tragedy with the character not painted as a villain. So we have another villain anti-hero origin story, it looks like. Budget will be around $40 million. Begins filming in just a few months, early 2025. Mike Flanagan loves the Clayface episodes, and he's the one writing and directing the film, and specifically from Batman the Animated Series. This will release on September 11th, 2026, which leads into the DC lineup that we have scheduled coming up next few years. So currently the DCU movie slate looks like Superman July 11th, 2025, Supergirl June 26th, 2026, Clayface September 11th, 2026, The Batman October 2nd, 2026, and Dynamic Duo June 30th, 2028. So in 2026, June, September, and October, we have superhero films coming out.
Well, that's just DC.
Yeah,
Marvel ones too.
DC, yeah.
2026 is going to be like a dozen major superhero movies.
Then there's Spider-Man as well, and Doomsday number 1.
There's going to be a lot of comic book movies that year.
Crazy stuff.
I think that we really enjoyed the Clayface episodes.
Those are fun.
Yeah, those are always creative, and you can add this really gothic spin to it and make it pretty grim. It looks like he might be approaching it like a Universal monster movie, like the creature from Black Lagoon, with this tragic story.
Obsessed with the lady on a boat.
Obsessed with a lady. Or like a Phantom of the Opera type of character.
Yeah.
I think you can have a lot of fun with that.
Tom Holland's got some more news. He's being eyed to star in an adaptation of Teddy Wayne's The Winner, described as the White Lotus meets the talented Mr. Ripley. The film follows a recent graduate who begins an intoxicating relationship with a recent divorcee. Maybe throw the graduate in there.
Sounds
as well.
hot.
And also, Tom is launching his own production company called Billy 17 with his brother Harry Holland and Will South. They're already developing Burnt, a film written by Rodney Rothman, who wrote Into the Spider-Verse, and an adaptation, obviously, of The Winner will be
this
their first
movie we're talking about. Yeah. I think that sounds really cool. And I mean,
He's got the power.
That's a great sign that he has power and he has a production company. And he obviously has the star draw to make movies that this sounds like a really interesting drama and a great setup for a great classical kind of movie that I'm really interested in this. It sounds great.
He would definitely fit so well in that
I'm gonna look into this novel, The Winner. Sounds cool. I mean, just we were sold when you just put talented Mr. Ripley in there, guys. That's we're in. I'm in. I'm set. All right, next up, news about the live-action Warhammer series from Amazon Prime Video. Henry Cavill will star and executive produce this series called Warhammer 40,000. And it's just going to be him painting Warhammer skip figures. I think that would get more views than the Warhammer.
Probably.
It's going to be him in his little studio painting the little sculptures.
So obviously Variety released their actors on actors recently, but now they're going to release their directors on directors starting in December. We have Denis Villeneuve with Luca Guadagnino, Brady Corbet and Sean Baker, John Chu and Sean Levy, Helena Regine and Pedro Almodovar, and Matt Reeves and Zoe Kravitz, which obviously they probably paired them up because
Promo for Batman 2.
Batman.
These are great pairings. I'm looking forward to seeing that Denis and Luca chat.
Man,
I mean, they're two of the best there
That's
are.
going to be such a great one.
Yeah, they're fucking great. I could watch 6 hours of them sitting next to each other talking, honestly. Yeah, I like these pairs. They're good. All right, next up, we have news about Spike Lee's High and Low remake, which he's actually changed the title to. It's called Highest to Lotus with the digit 2 instead of TO2.
Lowest.
Highest to Lowest.
There you go. Said Lotus.
A$AP Rocky will have one of the main roles in Spike Lee's remake of the film, also starring Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, Ice Spice. There are behind-the-scenes photos of Denzel and Jeffrey Wright. Denzel playing the high-powered businessman who owns the company. I'm sure maybe it'll still be women's shoes in this film, but maybe I'll be different.
Does it look contemporary?
It's contemporary.
Gotcha.
He's got this really great suit. He's stepping out of a Rolls Royce. He's got these huge blue sunglasses. He looks like a really cool business magnate, and he will obviously be playing that role. But if it says here that A$AP will have the main role, maybe Denzel will be a supporting role in this film instead, because he is the lead. That character's the lead of High and Low.
Well, the detective.
True. Yeah, the
I'm
detective.
sure A$AP's probably the detective.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah,
what I
you're
put
right.
money on. Oh, yeah, this is a great behind the scenes. Oh, look at that blue roll.
Doesn't he look sick?
Oh, man.
All blue.
Three-piece suit.
His sunglasses match his car pretty much.
Oh, the pinstripes. Oh, man, this is going to be cool. I'm cool. I'm excited about
And
this.
Jeffrey Wright looks to be, I'm guessing, the father of the son that gets taken. It looks like.
I could buy that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Narnia news. Greta Gerwig's Narnia will begin filming in July 2025. And according to producer Amy Pascal, it's a very new take. It's all about rock and roll. What that means, I have no fucking idea.
Rock and roll. Huh.
Is the lion going to be playing guitar?
Aslan's going to be shredding on the keyboards.
I'm guessing it does referring to the musical elements probably.
You'll probably be like, yeah, Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, they'll probably have
modern music.
Yeah, I bet it'll be a lot of musical numbers.
That is a strange way to describe it. It's all about rock and roll.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Greta's great. I'm sure she's got a great plan.
We'll find out.
I saw a meme.
We'll find out.
It was the Jennifer Lawrence a hot ones. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? We'll find out. Begins filming in July. Wow. They're ready to get going. All right, next up. Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller. They're teaming up again. The Fockers are returning to Meet the Parents 4, which is currently in the works, with everybody, including Terry Polo and Blythe Danner, returning to their roles made famous in the franchise. I'm not sure if Dustin Hoffman and Barbra Streisand will come in yet.
Is Terry Polo plays his wife?
Yep.
Gotcha. I didn't even know there was a third one.
Little Fockers.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, so it's Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, Little Fockers.
Little Fockers.
How could you forget Little Fockers? I actually never saw that one.
What would this be? Meet the grandparents? I mean, grandkids?
This is just, I think, Meet the Parents 4, so I think they're going to avoid... maybe they won't have Streisand and Dustin Hoffman in this one, is my guess.
No, I mean, what would the plot meet? Like grandkids or...
It would just be Ben Stiller being an idiot for 2 hours again.
Speaking about characters being idiots, we have some news about Happy Gilmore 2, which is going to release around July 2025 on Netflix. So pretty damn soon. 6 months away, 7 months away. Eminem is going to be cast in the film. He's got a cameo in it because him and Adam are great, great friends. So I think that's pretty cool news.
Yeah, they're like longtime friends. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a trailer soon then.
Probably.
Maybe before the end of the year.
I would
we'll
like
get a
that.
trailer.
I'm
a little
so
teaser.
curious. So curious.
All right, we have news about this new film starring Ian McKellen, Michael Cole, and James Corden, Steven Soderbergh's The Christophers. This sounds interesting. It follows the estranged children of an artist who hire a forger to complete his unfinished works so they can be discovered and sold after his death. That sounds like a great setup for a movie. That sounds awesome. I like that.
Drama.
I like that a lot.
Let's talk about boy band. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are teaming up for a new film called Boy Band. It follows members of a boy band who reunite when they are middle-aged men. So they want to keep that comedy train going.
That's going to be huge.
Cavill wants to play the Grinch again. He was asked about he's doing press for Sonic 3. And we also did an interview with Ben Schwartz the other day, so check that out. Dropped on Saturday. And he said he'd love to play the character again, but only if they did it with motion capture. He's not getting in the suit again.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I think it would be great. I think get Ron Howard back if you can. But I'm sure the entire suit, all the makeup, he did amazing stuff with it, but I'm sure it was restrictive.
Yeah. I mean, look at them.
Yeah.
You can't even breathe out of that face.
I'm sure it held back what he entirely wanted to do entirely. So with mocap, you give him freedom to just be as open to his movements, body language, facial expressions as possible. And we all know how crazy his expressions can get. If you look at his old stand-up routines and his impressions of pretty much any actor, he just changes his entire face, not just his voice, to personify them. So I think that this would be a fantastic idea. Why not? Everybody loves the Grinch. Just let's go. Mocap looks great.
Let's get into these trailers, Guy.
Oh, yeah.
What we got first? Oh, let's talk about Novacaine. Our guy, Jack Quaid. He's playing a regular dude who can't feel pain in the action movie where he sets off to save his work crush from criminals. This hits theaters March 14th. It looks hysterical. I love the concept. A main character who has this condition. You can't feel pain at all. It sets up for crazy scenarios. He puts his hand in an a fryolator to get a handgun out. He gets stabbed a lot. There's a funny bit where there's this ball and chain that stabs him in the back. He doesn't feel it. So I think it's a really cool, fresh idea. It sort of feels like Crank, except with a character who can't feel pain instead of having to keep your adrenaline going.
It also really hones in on Jack's incredible comedic chops, and he's shown that obviously in his previous work, but combining it with his action in this movie, and also just being a regular guy who's in crazy situations, but he's able to get through them because of his strange ability to not feel pain, like being able to take out thugs because he can't feel pain. He's not like absolutely not an expert or doesn't even know how to fight at all. So I really like that about the trailer. It really hones in on the normal guy, average Joe aspect to it. And it's like an old school kind of movie. Like he's trying to save his crush from these bad guys. It's great.
He's got 2 movies that look really interesting coming out next year. Obviously, he's got The Boys.
Yes.
Season 5, but then he's got this. Then he has that horror movie, Companion, that looks really interesting as well.
Okay, we have a trailer that came out starring Daisy Ridley called Cleaner. It looks a little familiar.
It's interesting.
Well, let me describe the trailer.
What's funny is they dropped this trailer in December.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't notice.
Let me just describe this plot. Let me see if you could catch something familiar about it. So there's a big party happening in a skyscraper.
Okay.
Terrorists take over the party, hold everyone hostage, blow up some stuff.
Sounds
Then this blue-collar worker is the only person that can stop them. This blue-collar worker fights the terrorists.
Do they know that they're around, or is it like are they sneaking around?
This person's sneaking around, and they even after they kill a terrorist, they take their radio and they start talking to the bad guy.
I'm catching a blank here, man.
Really? I mean, I guess it is that. It's an original story. Yeah, we're talking about Cleaner, guys. We're talking Cleaner, starring Daisy Ridley as John McClane. I mean, Daisy Ridley as
as Die Hard. I mean,
oh my God. Whatever, guy. My reaction was just like, why would you? It's such a carbon copy.
Especially releasing the trailer in December.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit! It's the same movie. It's
just newer.
She's a window cleaner. It's not John McClane, a cop.
Honestly, I'm not going to see this.
It's the same movie.
I'm not going to see this in theaters.
Why? Like, oh my God! Do not. If you're gonna
let it out, man. Let it out.
If you're gonna make an action movie, do not rip off probably the most beloved action movie of all time. It's up there. It's probably the most beloved of all time in the action genre. It's up there. Do not just make a copy of that, because anyone who loves Die Hard is not going to watch this movie. You already alienated millions of people from seeing your film. They have no interest in it. I have no interest in seeing this, because you know what I'm going to do instead?
Watch Die Hard.
That's right.
I'll watch all the Die Hards before I watch this.
Oh my! It is like literally shot for shot, scene by scene. takes the radio. She starts talking to Clive Owen, who's Hans Gruber, obviously. But this time, Hans Gruber he's making the rich pay for their
Robin Hood terrorist.
Yeah, Robin Hood terrorist. Like, get the fuck out of here, guys. Hans Gruber's awesome because you know what? He's trying to steal all that fucking gold and money. He wants it all. He wants that all. Oh, man.
I'm sick of movies like this, man. This is ridiculous. It's clearly you're ripping off Die Hard so hard, but it's not a major studio, and whatever production companies made this, they better be ready to take a huge L because they are not going to make any of their money back. They're going to lose a ton. They're going to lose a ton of money.
It's like, yeah, if you want to do like a movie that's like, it's Die Hard in a plane. It's Die Hard, but like on a train.
What are they on the plane? They're hiding in the overhead compartment.
I don't know, but like to just do it's Die Hard, but it's not.
She's a cleaner.
It's Die Hard, but it's just a different actor.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, man. This ain't getting watched.
That trailer pissed me off.
Whew, what a waste of money. Jabba the Hutt news, guys. So Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada, will reportedly appear in Mandalorian and Grogu, the Star Wars film coming to theaters next year. And Jeremy Allen White is playing Rada, and apparently he's going to look buff. He's going to be buff.
He's gonna look buff.
He looked at
a buff slug?
He looked at his dad. He's like, you know what? I better be hitting the abs, man.
He's going to be a slug with 18 sets of abs. Is it Rhoda?
Rada?
Yeah, Rada?
It's Rotta.
Rhoda.
Rada.
Rhoda.
Rada.
Anyways,
Jabba
he will not be performing on set. It's a voice acting role. They're not going to put him in a slug outfit. All right, we got another trailer for the Looney Tunes, who are back. Warner Brothers is hitting the go button on Looney Tunes content over the next 10 years.
Good for them.
And this is the first project in this upcoming stream of Looney Tunes films. This is called The Day the Earth Blew Up.
I watched the trailer. It's very funny.
Only Daffy Duck can save the Earth from impending doom, which I think is if you're going to go with the character, Bugs is the obvious choice, but to go with Daffy, I think is a fun choice.
Yeah, to open up.
Yeah.
And then Bugs is like your
The Avengers.
Your Tony Stark.
Hopefully they don't do an Avengers team up. But this looks really fun. It looks like it harkens back to the animated shows and movies that we grew up watching. The Looney Tunes is a huge IP that they've done very little with because of the boom of comic book genre. So they had a whole new library of characters to play with. But now I think it's smart to go back to the Looney Tunes. They, in a way, for us, Warner Brothers was Looney Tunes when we were kids. I always looked at Looney Tunes as like, oh, Warner Brothers. They were connected in like at the Warner Brothers store, like Bugs Bunny's on the logo. You know what I mean? So they were instrumental to the Warner Brothers brand.
The curtain
for decades.
At the beginning of every episode.
Yeah, and then Porky Pig. We don't get all the characters in this film, but I think they chose a good. I think they chose good characters for the first film.
I'm sure there'll be cameos too.
Yeah, for sure. But it looks like a lot of fun.
Bugs is definitely gonna be in this.
Yeah, it's post-credit scene.
Yeah, probably. Staying on Warner Brothers and their classic cartoons, Tom and Jerry is getting a movie. An animated film is in the works at Warner Brothers. Rashida Jones, Will McCormick, and Michael Govier are writing the script, and I just hope they don't make the mistake of making them talk the whole time. Don't make them talk the whole time.
Yeah. And also, to point out, the Looney Tunes trailer, it's 2D animation. It's not 3D CGI animation, which I think is smart. They tried that with something years ago. And then also they did a Tom and Jerry movie 2 years ago on Max with Chloe Grace Moretz. And that was live action with them as CG characters.
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, she works at a hotel, and Tom and Jerry are like at their antics in a hotel. It came out on Max.
What? I have to look this up.
Yeah, it came out during lockdown. Nobody saw it. But that was their last adaptation of like a Looney Tune IP character before Space Jam.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I remember this.
Yeah, you remember the trailer. Yeah, they played it.
Wow, it looked pretty bad.
But I think the way to do Looney Tunes is to go 2D animation. That's the way. That's how it works. And it looks like with The Day the Earth Blew Up, and then probably Tom and Jerry will be 2D animation as well, which is the right choice.
Don't make them talk the whole time too. Don't do that.
You need that. You need the silent film comedy. That's what you need.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Bang Bang.
He's getting a reboot in the works. Obviously because it's a property that it hasn't been rebooted.
I just happened to watch this movie a few weeks ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was delightful. It was a really great musical. It's a very British film, and it's from the writer Ian Fleming.
Oh no shit!
It's one of his novels.
Huh, that's cool.
It's fun. I think they could do something really cool with it. It's been 60 years. So
What's this Guy Pearce stuff, this controversial thing?
So we all know Guy Pearce starred in Memento and was phenomenal. And Chris Nolan loved him and loved working with him. And apparently Guy Pearce gave an interview because he's promoting The Brutalist. And he basically said a Warner Brothers executive stopped him from appearing in more Chris Nolan movies after Memento. And, quote, Chris Nolan spoke to me about roles a few times over the years, the first Batman and The Prestige. But there was an executive at Warner Brothers who quite openly said to my agent, I don't get Guy Pearce. I'm never going to get Guy Pearce. I'm never going to employ Guy Pearce. So in a way, that's good to know, fair enough, because there are some actors that don't get roles, but some do. It basically meant that I could never work with Chris again. And then Nolan made pretty much all of his movies with Warner Brothers until Oppenheimer, when he left the studio. And then Pearce asked if... Pearce was asked if he did something to offend this executive, and he said, no, I don't think he just liked me as an actor. And he explained that when he was on a flight from Australia to America to meet with Chris about The Prestige, to meet with Chris about Batman Begins, Chris had him in mind for Ra's al Ghul. And so what happened was Guy Pearce was flying across the world to go to Chris's place, and then while he was on his flight, the executive shut down Guy Pearce starring in the movie, and basically told Nolan he's not going to be in your movie. And so when Guy Pearce landed, Nolan was like, well, do you want to see the Batmobile and then get dinner?
Fuck yeah, dude.
So that's what happened. So Guy Pearce probably would have had more significant roles in Nolan movies if it wasn't for that executive.
Wow, that's too bad. Yeah, he could definitely do Ra's al Ghul, I think.
Yeah.
Liam's perfect.
Yeah.
Liam's really fantastic, but I could see Guy Pearce doing that for sure. And then if you look at future films in his filmography, I could see him being in Inception. He looks sharp in a suit.
And maybe for Prestige, he could have been up for Angier.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, I could see him being maybe Tom Hardy's character in Inception or JGL's character in Inception.
Oh, absolutely. He could have absolutely played Murph in Interstellar.
Nolan actually got asked recently about that Murph character, the child, and how in his brother's original script and Jonathan Nolan's first script for Interstellar, before Nolan went through his rewrites, Murph was a boy, but then Nolan changed it to a young girl because he had a daughter that was the same age as the character, and so he wanted to, as a father, so that he can like hold on to himself in a very symbolic way, like Coop is trying to hold on to that with Murph, with the memories of her at that age. He turned Murph into a girl, which I think is really sweet.
It works better.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then you can feel the heartbeat.
And then you can cast Jessica Chastain, and she's just so good in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really interesting. That's too bad for Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce is great, and I don't know what that exec was thinking. I mean,
it's crazy
phenomenal.
how execs, the things, I'm sure running a movie studio is very difficult.
Yeah.
And you have to make these huge decisions that are $100, $200 million decisions. But at the end of the day, I'm sure there is there are a lot of executives, past, present, and future, who make very selfish decisions based off their beliefs versus what is best for a project or what the audience wants. And I think that's a huge problem right now, where executives are making decisions for what they think the audience wants versus what the audience would really like to see.
And now Nolan's in a point in his career where he can have anyone in his movie, and no executive will bat an eye. They'll just say, yes, sir.
Well, I mean, now that you left Warner Brothers too, especially.
Whatever you want, Chris.
What an L Warner Brothers has taken, man.
Maybe we'll see them reunite one day.
I don't think
I would
so.
love to see Guy Pearce in a...
Oh, I think I meant Warner Brothers.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, Guy Pearce and Nolan.
I hope he's in his next movie. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think he's phenomenal in Memento. He's a great actor. Guy's awesome.
Let's talk about Homewreckers and Glenn Powell, who's probably the busiest actor alive right now. He's starring in this new erotic thriller, Homewreckers, described as a mix between Adrian Lyne films like Fatal Attraction and Alex Garland films like Ex Machina.
So we're going to get a crazy
Codependent robot.
Must be a good script. Also, Joseph Quinn, not yet confirmed, but he is apparently being eyed to play George Harrison in Sam Mendes' Beatles movies. Great pick.
And apparently Ridley Scott said that Paul Mescal will be playing John Lennon.
Lennon.
Or is it Paul McCartney?
I think it's McCartney.
Oh, okay. I think you're right. So I don't know if he was supposed to reveal that. Just like how Denzel wasn't supposed to reveal that he's going to be in Black Panther 4.
Black Panther 3? Oh, he wasn't supposed to?
Yeah, he had to apologize. He said he apologized to Ryan Coogler.
Oh, shit. They wanted to keep it a secret?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's going to be a couple new TV show revivals.
But one's cool.
Malcolm in the Middle is getting a 4-episode revival. Pretty much everyone's returning. It's about Malcolm and his daughter as Hal and Lois demand their presents for their 40th wedding anniversary.
I'm in, man.
So Frankie's coming back. Bryan Cranston's coming back. The main four are coming back. I don't know about the other kids though. They'll probably sign a contract.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
Next up, we have Prison Break. The next iteration reboot will be moving forward at Hulu.
What a cool show it was when it first came out.
This is not a reboot though. It's just set in the same universe, and it follows new characters and a new story. So that way they avoid the reboot term.
We got our first look at Opus, an Io Debris film starring also John Malkovich. This is an A24 horror movie following a young writer who's invited to the remote compound of a legendary pop star who mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago. But I bet you he comes back.
He's a robot. Ex machina. Brady Corbet's the filmmaker behind The Brutalist. He has a new film in pre-production, which sounds really interesting. It'll be a 1970s horror film about the immigration process from China to California. Very interesting.
Anne Hathaway and Dave Bautista are starring in a new untitled comedy. The film follows the true story of two FBI agents who posed as a couple to infiltrate global criminal enterprises, which all culminated at a staged wedding in New Jersey.
Dirty Jersey. All right, next up. I Know What You Did Last Summer. More news. Jennifer Love Hewitt officially confirmed that she will be returning to the franchise, and they are getting ready to release in July 2025.
I will now be seated. Childhood crush.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
I will not be seated. I couldn't care less about another new I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I still know what you did last summer 10 years ago. 25 years ago in the 90s.
I never forgot about what you did last summer.
In 1994.
Dude, move on. Get over it.
Get a life.
Jesus Christ, man.
Use a gun.
Did she actually kill someone else last summer?
Someone always knows. Our final bit of news involves Bill Skarsgard. He's set to star in the new Gus Van Sant film called Dead Man's Wire. Also, Dacre Montgomery from Stranger Things is going to be the other lead. The movie is a hostage thriller that is based on a true story. The film follows a former real estate developer who takes the mortgage banker who did him wrong hostage, demanding $5 million and a personal apology.
I like it. That sounds fun.
I bet you Skarsgard is the hostage
Pennywise.
taker. And then Dacre's the hostage, I bet. Dacre looks like he would clean up really well as a real estate broker.
Uh-huh. Maybe, yeah.
100%.
We'll see.
The dark role here is definitely Skarsgård being the kidnapper.
I don't know about definitely. We'll have to wait.
He plays dark roles all the time.
Maybe he wants to do something lighter. No, I would say obviously, I don't know, because, well, maybe.
Dacre Montgomery in a suit, clean cut, fucking looks like a G, well manicured man.
You might be right.
I'm 100% right. That's definitely the role.
This sounds like it could be like a fun, like Headhunters-esque film. That Norwegian film is phenomenal.
All right, well,
I like the casting.
That's all we got for movie news. That was a lot of stuff. Really, really huge stories this week. So we hope you enjoyed us breaking everything down for you.
And the holiday season is coming up, so we made some very special Christmas episodes. But first, Nosferatu episode on Monday. And we know that's next 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, slow down.
Forget what I said.
Roll. We're just doing,
Forget what I said.
We're doing holiday movies this week.
Holiday.
Wait for Christmas, and then we're gonna do Nosferatu. It hasn't even been released yet, bruh. The first episode after Christmas will be Nosferatu, so next Monday.
But we are doing a Christmas week.
Yeah.
The week after this episode.
We're going to do the holdovers on Wednesday. I'm very excited about that. I'm going to watch that tonight. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
All right, everyone. Stay tuned for our Christmas episodes as well as Nosferatu next week. We did Django Unchained last week, which was a lot of fun. We interviewed Ben Schwartz the other day. Yeah. We're going to drop another interview with James Marsden and Tika Sumpter, the other stars of Sonic 3 this week as well. So stay tuned for that. And besides that, take care, everyone.
See you next time.